supposed to be a country of my people, but my people built their country on the backs of a group of another oppressed people, so I was struggling with that right now. So these next two poems are going to be about that and my time there, and how government does not represent people. Do you know how it feels to be wanted? Do you know how it feels to be sad? I have seen the skin of them, sewn in marble and stitched with blood, hands of mine that crawl against the current of the Mediterranean Sea, these hands of mine. When I touch their bodies, they furnace firecracker. We eat 3 meals a day if we are lucky. Kill 3 men a night when we're hungry. When we're hungry, they're starving. We eat our country, our land, our land. Our land is a ravenous bite. We left no flesh of a culture. We took their bones and grilled them for breakfast. We salt our food with our dry tears. When she came, I lost my appetite, compassion. I knew her once. She came to the dinner table dressed up as Yitzhak Rabin in drag. She was wearing a white and blue and green and black and red dress. Her jewelry gleamed with the lustful promise of her 2-state solution. But then he took her, and me with her, and them with me, and us with them fear. He was wearing nothing but half-eaten sandwiches, 68 years too old, and a shovel he shoved up the desert's ass when he screamed, "Bloom, bitch!" I swore to protect her on that day. When I hold the gun, my hands crawl under it and around it. This is to avoid its gaze as it stares at me. I can move it like you used to move this country. It became an extension of my body, in the same way that you were our backbone. Instead of collapsing, we flattened. Smoothed ourselves into 5 years, becomes 20, becomes yesterday, when a soldier asked me why we were here, and I told him, because our fathers never knew the value of a shekel and nobody else will. They don't give the combat jobs to suckers, they give them to dead men. That way, when they bury our bodies, they won't feel as guilty. On nights like this, when the blood-orange Middle Eastern sun looks cut open, I place our hope for peace right in the center and pray for open-heart surgery. Chances are 40-60 on a good day, 40 men dead, 60 injured. I've come to not find victory in life, or peace, or God. I've come to find it in sand, in old friends, in good food, in the empty water bottle I filled to the brim with stale empathy for what once was. Do you know how it feels to be water? Do you know how it feels to be sad? Woo! And her 2 years of service are up. 1/10 of her lifetime, she is 20 years old. And her breathing comes back in segments in hot morning showers at her home in Moadin, in the middle of the night as she fishes through volunteer programs to India and the signing of her apartment lease with her friends in the Florentine district of Tel Aviv, Israel. 2 months now, temporarily settled. She has a job as a waitress at a vegan-friendly cafe in the city. She comes home to her single kitchen, 2-room apartment. She retires to her bed through her dreams. She starts to bleed out the 2 years. The blanket covers become a green uniform. It's hot, summer, humid, Middle Eastern sun blazing. She kicks off the covers to remove the heat. She kicks off the covers to remove the green uniform. She kicks off the covers to extrapolate the 2 years that have settled complacently right underneath her skin. Her friends and her were in the intelligence force. They never held a gun except for during orientation and when they had to. And when they had to, their arms could never wrap themselves around it to where they call it help. She tried to cradle it in her grip when she fought. She tried to sing it a lullaby. She tried to rock her empathy to sleep. Hush, little baby, don't say a word until my vision isn't blurred. My vision isn't blurred. My vision isn't blurred. She reminded herself that this was safety, her family, her country, her friends, the concept of a Jewish homeland, all different shades of safety. But safety felt so dangerous. She had to protect safety from itself. This country is mine. It's fucked up, but but it's all I have in order to thrive in this society. She compartmentalizes the nagging moral questions in the back of her brain with her ability to laugh on Thursday nights and enjoy a beer. We all want the privilege of enjoying a beer even when we don't. It isn't her fault her ancestors fostered a colonialized rental home for a religion or a culture or something. Sometimes the enemy is female. She looks the same age as her. She looks like her best friend, but she lives on the other side of the green line, so she tucks her gun into her green uniform, and she tucks herself in at night in her nightmares, playing loops, and her nightmares playing loops, and she kicks off the covers to remove the heat, and she kicks off the covers to remove the 8-hour guard duty in the rain. She was taught not to shoot unless she had to. She kicks off the covers to remove the eye contact she shouldn't make. She doesn't understand why there are so many scenarios where she had to. Her and that girl on the other side of the green line have more in common than she thinks. They are both temporarily settled. She goes into work the next morning, serving men and women wearing the all too familiar shade of green. Occasionally, she wants to kick them, but she smiles, gives them their food, hopes for a tip, and takes the metro home at home. She greets her roommates. They are brimming with youth and relief. She is brimming with other things. She kicks open the door to her room, gets ready for bed. She has no AC in her room. She kicks off the covers to remove the heat. And her nightmares play in loop, and she kicks off the covers to remove the heat, and she kicks a Palestinian family at her home, and her nightmares play in loops, and she kicks off the covers to remove the heat, and her nightmares play in loops,